I'm starting the live stream now, but we're not, give it like 30 seconds.
Okay. Remember that when I start the meeting, you have to have your camera on for the full meeting for transparency's sake.
We're ready whenever you are.
Great, I'll give 1 more minute. Okay, I call this the 7th meeting of the 63rd Session Student Senate to order at 7:05 p.m. Roll call was conducted as senators arrived into the Zoom meeting. No one has spoken to us beforehand about speaking in public forum, so we can move on. Moving on to item 4, I am looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve last week's meeting minutes.
Do we have a second? Senator Majors with the second.
Who made the motion?
Maggie Hull.
Thank you.
If you would like to approve the minutes from last week's meeting, please click the yes button in the Zoom app, please, or on your Zoom screen. I do need people to click yes and leave it. We do need people to vote. With 40 in favor, 0 against, and no abstentions, this passes. Phew. Oh, goodness, sorry. We can now move on to item 5, approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I motion to remove the nomination of Esteban Luna from the agenda. Is that a motion?
Yes, so that would be a motion to strike item C underneath new business.
I motion to strike item C underneath new business. Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Senator Hull with the second. This will be another vote. You can vote by just clicking yes on your Zoom screen again. I would like to remind everyone that if you are a senator, you need to change your name to read Senator and your last name. Still waiting on 3 votes. With 40 in favor and 0 against, 1 abstention, this does pass. So do we have a motion to approve the agenda as it stands with the stricken item in new business?
I move to uphold the agenda as it stands.
Thank you. Senator Tubach, do we have a second?
Second.
Senator Scheer with the second. Okay, we can move on to the consent agenda. As there are no items in the consent agenda, we can move on to unfinished business. Before we start unfinished business and we move into voting, I wanted to have a quick discussion about Robert's rules and what each vote means. So when you vote yes, it's very clear. That is what a yes is. When you vote no, very clear. It means you're saying no to whatever the motion is. What I wanted to talk about is an abstention. So an abstention counts as you not voting at all. The only reason you should ever not vote is if there is a conflict of interest. And even if there is a conflict of interest, it's better for you to recuse yourself from the room, because otherwise your vote will count as a no because of the way our votes are set up. So within our voting system, it's a majority of those present, not majority of those voting. So that means of everyone in the room, they're like currently our set number is, in order to have a simple majority, we need 22 people to vote in favor. We need 28 people to vote in favor if it's 2/3. So it's important that you do not abstain from voting unless you have a conflict of interest, because otherwise your vote just counts as a no, and it would be better for you to just vote no. Does that make sense? Are there any questions about that in particular? You can raise your hand if you have questions about that. Okay, great. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because there was some confusion, and it would be better to just clear it all out and have everyone understand now. So we can now move into unfinished business. Item A, clerk, go ahead and read.
Item A, SB 63-044, approve the recognition of Phi Sigma Pi, introduced by Phi Sigma Pi President Katie Hefner and Advisor Gabriel Fonseca for themselves. The objective is to approve the creation of the RSO Phi Sigma Pi. It's referred to Committee of the Whole from Ways and Means. It is laid upon the table, so the vote required is a 2/3 vote.
Thank you very much. Senator Majors.
Should it read 4-1 or rather than 4-4? Two of them are listed as 4-4.
Ooh, that is a good question. Let me check really quick.
And is it Phi Beta Pi or Phi Sigma Pi?
It is Phi Sigma Pi. There was a mistake in the bill before.
Okay.
It's Bill 45.
45, okay,
Yeah.
that's my
There was
mistake.
there was a number mess up. So yes, this Bill 45.
Thank you, Gabriel. Okay, are there any other questions about the bill before we move into the debate period? All right, just a reminder, you do need to have your camera on for the full meeting for transparency's sake. We will now move into the debate period on this item. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Senator Smith.
So I'm on the Ways and Means Committee, and I got to listen to our author over here speak the first time that we got to hear her speak. And I think she showed a lot of interest and passion about this sorority. And I think that it would be a good idea to pass it because she really was genuinely passionate about it and showed that it helped her in a lot of ways. And I think it could help a lot of other people on campus in the same ways that it helped her. So I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator Smith. Are there any, does anyone have a speech in negation for this bill at this time? Seeing none, do we have another speech in affirmation for this bill? Senator Day.
This is a motion to, and because basically when looking at the bill, it doesn't show a date. So to add the correct date. And that's, or not a bill, resolution, but I've noticed that with several resolutions that they don't have a date attached to them.
The date will be added at the end because we can add the date.
Yeah, we put the dates after they've been processed. Yeah, so you know,
Okay.
because right, they're introduced 2 different times, one to the committee, one to the Senate. We actually update that date with when it was brought to the Senate. So the dates will always remain blank until they pass.
I've drawn my motion.
Okay, thank you. Senator Majors?
Can I motion to pass by unanimous consent?
Yes, you may. With a motion to pass by unanimous consent, do we have any objections to that motion? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, this bill passes by unanimous consent of the Senate. Moving on to item B, the clerk will read.
Item B is SB 63-043, approve the recognition of the YMCA student organization, introduced by YMCA student organization President Daenerys Robinson and advisor Gabriel Fonseca for themselves. The objective is to approve the creation of the RSO YMCA student organization. It's referred to committee of the whole from Ways and Means. The vote required is laid upon the table, 2/3 vote.
With that, with the questioning period having ended last meeting, we will move into debate on this item. Do I have a speech in affirmation of this bill? Seeing none, do I have a speech in negation for this bill? Seeing none, we will now move into the voting period on this item. Please pull out your iClicker apps as you will be voting there. I will wait until everyone votes, so please put in your votes. I am still waiting on some people to vote. Please go ahead and vote. Thank you. With 40 in favor, 1 against, and 1 abstention, this bill passes. We can now move on to item C. The clerk will read.
Item C is SB 63-042, approve the recognition of WSU Campus Ministry Connection Student Organization. Introduced by Amin Hassini, President of WSU Campus Ministry Connect, and advisor Gabriel Fonseca for themselves. To approve the creation of the RSO WSU Campus Ministry Connection Student Organization. It's referred to Committee of the Whole from Ways and Means. It's laid upon the table and the vote required is a 2/3 vote.
As the questioning period ended last meeting, we will now move into the debate period on this item. Do I have a speech in affirmation for this bill? Seeing none, do I have a speech in negation for this bill? Senator Majors.
Motion to pass with unanimous consent of the Senate.
With a motion to pass by unanimous consent of the Senate, do we have any objections? Please go ahead and raise your hand. Seeing none, this bill passes with the unanimous consent of the Senate. Senator Gallegos, did you have a question or was that a objection?
It was an accident, sorry.
Okay. So this bill passes with the unanimous consent of the Senate. We can move on to item D, SB-63-044. Go ahead and read. Sorry.
To approve the recognition of Assistive Technology Solutions Student Organization. Introduced by Carlos Gatti, President of Assistive Technology Solutions for himself and advisor Gabriel Fonseca for himself. They introduce the following bill to approve the creation of Assistive Technology Solutions Student Organization. It's referred to Committee of the Whole from Ways and Means. The vote required is laid upon the table as 2/3 vote.
As the questioning period ended last meeting, we will now move into the debate period on this item. Do I have a speech in affirmation for this bill? Senator Sines.
Yeah, just from the presentation given last week, I think like this group can make really good headway. And seeing the progress that they've already made, I feel like they'll do a really good job here on campus. And yeah, I will be definitely voting yes for this bill.
Thank you, Senator Sines. Do we have a speech in negation of this bill? Seeing none, do we have another speech in affirmation for this bill? Senator Majors.
I will say that the work that they're doing, I think, is extremely beneficial to the greater Wichita State University community. And I'll also motion to pass with unanimous consent of the Senate.
With a motion to pass by unanimous consent of the Senate, do we have any objections? Please raise your hand if you object to this motion. Senator Majors, can you lower your hand? Thank you. With none, this bill passes with the unanimous consent of the Senate. We can move on to item E. Clerk?
Item E is FB 63-006, WSU Rocket Club funding, introduced by Senator Maggie Hull for herself, to authorize the allocation of $500 to WSU Rocket Club, referred to Committee of the Whole from Budget and Finance. It is laid upon the table with a 2/3 vote required.
As we finished the questioning period on this bill at the last meeting, we will now move into the debate period. Do I have a speech in affirmation of this bill? Do I have a speech in negation of this bill? Seeing none, we will now move into the voting period on this item. Again, please pull out your iClicker apps and you will be voting there. Still waiting on 2 votes. Still waiting on 1 more vote. With 39 in favor and 2 against, this bill passes. We can now move on to new business, item A.
Item A is SB 63-055, appoint Kenyatta Jr. and Ureta to the position of Business Senator, introduced by Vice President Haas along with Speaker Olivia Babin for themselves, to, as the objective of by the authority vested in her as Vice President by the Constitution and the laws of the Wichita State University Student Government Association, direct the appointment of Kenyatta Jr. and Ureta to the position of Business Senator, referred to Committee of the Whole. The vote is laid upon the table with a 2/3 vote required.
Vice President Haas, would you like to give an authorship speech?
Yeah, Kenyatta has been one of my most enjoyable interviews so far, and he has so much ambition and drive and passion for our campus. He's just really looking to get involved on campus. He's transferring from Butler, and so he sought out the Student Government Association because he saw the great work that we all do, and he was very excited to get some experience in leadership and making changes, as we are. Gabe, is he in the waiting room?
He's not just yet. And I know
Okay.
that, I know some of our nominees were having issues with the link, so he's not here yet. So no.
Okay, he's not here, but I would like to speak on the highest regard of him. And I don't know, I could answer questions, but based upon our interview, but obviously I don't know him personally.
With that, does anyone have questions for the Vice President about the nominee? All right, well, seeing none, we can move into the debate period on this item. Is there anyone who would like to speak in affirmation of this nominee? Seeing none, is there anyone who would like to speak in negation of this nominee? Seeing none, we can now move into the voting period on this item.
Point of
Again,
order, or I guess point of information, is it in order to table this bill until the nominee is able to speak?
that is something we can do, yes.
I move to table the bill until the nominee can speak.
Is there a second?
Second.
I don't know, Senator Lerma with the second. We do have to vote on this, so you can just click yes or no on your Zoom screen. I will wait for everyone to vote on Zoom. If you can't find it, you just click participants on your screen, and then there's a little green yes and a little red no. Ah, there we go. Now the people have voted. Okay, so yes, this motion passes. We will table this bill until the nominee is able to speak. We can now move on to item B. The clerk will read.
SB 63056, appoint Courtney Minor to the position of returning adult senator. Introduced by Vice President Haas, along with Speaker Olivia Babin for themselves. The objective is to, by the authority vested in her as Vice President by the Constitution and the laws of the Wichita State University Student Government Association, direct the appointment of Courtney Minor to the position of returning adult senator. Refer to Committee of the Whole. The vote required is laid upon the table with a 2/3 vote.
Thank you. Vice President, would you like to give a authorship speech?
Yeah, I think above all else, Courtney's organization and her desire to read policy really stood out during her interview. It was really awesome because she came into the interview and she was like, yeah, I already read the rules and regulations. And I was like, oh, okay, so she's already getting to work. And so I think she's excited to be a part of Senate, and I hope you are too.
Thank you very much. Courtney, would you like to give a speech about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Courtney Minor. I'm a senior here at Wichita State, philosophy major, returning adult student, originally from Hutchinson, Kansas. Anything else you'd like to know, or?
No, we can go ahead and go into some questions for you. Does anyone have any questions for the nominee? Senator Mounts.
What kind of involvement do you have with student organizations across campus?
So when I first got here, I joined the National Society of Leadership and Success when they were still active on campus. And with that, I helped our members set goals, and those could be like personal or academic. Currently, I am a member of Spectrum as their treasurer, and I am the president of the Philosophy Society.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the nominee? Senator Sines?
Just curious, did you have any specific goals that you were wanting to achieve through SGA, or was just something that you wanted to get involved with?
So actually both. I like to try and stay involved because to me, that's kind of part of the college experience, and that's how you really kind of grow your skills. But also, as a returning adult student, one of my biggest interests is sort of bridging the gap between like returning adult and non-returning, simply because when I went back to school, I was right past the age, like I was barely at the mark to be considered returning adult. And so it was a really interesting world because I always seem to sit somewhere in the middle. And the farther I get into WSU, I noticed that there's such a range of ages that are considered returning adult. And sometimes you can have people on the far end of the spectrums. And I think that we miss a lot of the opportunities in between, especially because, we're given our own label, returning adult student, and we have resources specifically for that. So I think too often we miss out on the resources that are there for everyone, but we seem to be excluded from. So it's just kind of, bringing awareness about that and bridging that gap to kind of have, just let everybody get the opportunities that are available.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the nominee? Great, seeing none. Thank you very much, Courtney, for your time. You can either stay for the debate period or you can leave, whatever you feel comfortable with. We will now move into the debate period on this item. Is there anyone who would like to speak in affirmation of this candidate? Senator Mounts.
So I'll be voting in favor. I've been very impressed with the work that the nominee in question has done and wants to do in student government. I've also firsthand seen their involvement in Spectrum and the good that they have done for that student organization. So it is a resounding yes for me.
Thank you. Do we have a speech in negation for this candidate? Seeing none, do we have another speech in affirmation? Senator Martin.
Yeah, I would say that I would definitely be voting yes for her, just because of the way that they're speaking and the goals they have in mind and the involvement they have on campus. It seems like they could do a lot of good within the SGA.
Thank you, Senator Martin. Do we have a speech in negation for this candidate? Seeing none, do we have another speech in affirmation of this candidate? Senator Majors.
Given the qualifications, the answers to questions, and the seeming desire to do good for SGA, I think that we should be able to motion to pass by unanimous consent.
Is that a motion to pass by unanimous
Yes, that
consent?
is a motion, sorry.
Okay. With a motion to pass by unanimous consent, do we have any objections to this motion? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, this motion passes by the unanimous consent of the Senate. Congratulations, Courtney. You are now a senator in the 63rd session. We can now move on to item D. The clerk will read.
Item D is SB 63-058, appoint Jessica Allen to the position of Applied Studies Senator, introduced by Vice President Haas along with Speaker Olivia Babin for themselves. By the authority vested in her as Vice President, by the Constitution and the laws of the Wichita State University Student Government Association, direct the appointment of Jessica Allen to the position of Applied Studies Senator. It's referred to Committee of the Whole, and it's laid upon the table with the 2/3 vote required.
Thank you, Clerk. Vice President Haas, would you like to give an authorship speech?
Yeah, I also really enjoyed my interview with Jessica. I think she has some great goals and some great missions, and I think her perspective as a master's degree student in mental health would be, I don't know, it's an awesome perspective to be a part of the Senate, and her representation for the College of Applied Studies will be key.
Thank you very much, Vice President Haas. Jessica, would you like to give a speech about yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name's Jessica Allen. I'm majoring in clinical mental health counseling. I'm originally from Orlando, Florida, so far move. I am a people person, so that's why I applied for this position, because I like to meet new people, and I figured this was like the best way to go about it.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Do we have any questions for the nominee? Great, seeing none. Thank you very much for your time, Jessica. You can either stay or leave for the debate period, whichever you feel more comfortable with. And we will now be moving into the debate period at this time. Do we have anyone who would like to speak in affirmation of this candidate? Senator Flores.
Yeah, this candidate seems really capable and seems that being like an extroverted, like people person would be a really good asset given the state of the university. And I think that would be really great for us to have as part of SGA. So I'd like to motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
With a motion to adopt by unanimous consent, do we have any objections to this motion at this time? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, this motion passes with the unanimous consent of the Senate. Congratulations, Jessica. You are now a senator in the 63rd session. We can now move on to item E. Clerk, go ahead.
AR 63-007, resolution to request the extension of the Student Fees Task Force, introduced by Speaker Olivia Babin for herself. The objective is, as the Student Senate passed AR 63-002 on May 6th, and it was approved by Student Body President on May 7th, and the Student Fees Task Force created by this resolution has not yet finished its work. The task force is requesting an extension on the timeline to complete their proposal. Referred to Committee of the Whole, it's laid upon the table with the majority vote required.
So as the author of this resolution, I will be doing the speaking. It's really, well, actually, it's just a resolution to amend a resolution, but that's okay. Basically, the Student Fees Task Force has been doing a lot of work. We put together a proposal. But there's a lot more that needs to go into this process than just creating a proposal. And we are currently working with the Office of Student Affairs, talking with them about the proposal and working with them to ensure that because there are statute changes within this bill, the president has to sign it, which means that we have to have conversations with Student Affairs to make sure that Student Affairs also agrees with everything that we're doing. So we're having those negotiations and those conversations, and we need just a couple more weeks to get that done and finalized before we can present our, basically our bill to the Senate of what we think should be the changes in the student fees process. So because of that, we would be unable to complete our work within the time period laid out by the original resolution. So we are just asking that we extend the date to October 7th. And more than likely, we will get it done before then. But this just gives us just a little bit of extra time if we don't finish it. But more than likely, we will have it done by the end of the month. Are there any questions about this resolution? Seeing none, we can move into the debate period on this item. Do we have any speeches in affirmation? Seeing none, do we have any speeches in negation on this item? Seeing none, we will now move into the debate period on this item. Again, please open your iClicker apps and vote there. Still waiting on one person to vote. With 42 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstentions, this bill passes. We can now move on to item F. The clerk will read.
FB 63-007, WSU First Generation Student Organization Fundraiser. Introduced by Senator John Kirk for himself, to authorize the allocation of $70 to OF-001, WSU First Generation Student Organization. It's referred to Committee of the Whole from Budget and Finance. This is the first read, so no vote is required.
As Senator John Kirk is unavailable to speak today, Senator Hull will be giving the speech, but one moment. Senator Martin, did you have a motion?
I actually just had a question because of my bias with this. Did I need to leave the meeting entirely, or do I just abstain my vote?
You would just abstain.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Hull, go ahead with your authorship speech.
Yeah, so the First Generation Student Organization came to us asking for money in order to help host a fundraiser. So they are a newer organization on our campus, but the work that they are doing to help our first generation students feel more at home and advocate for them is really, really important. So we actually tabled it for a meeting so they could come back to us with more information. They did the work, they got us solid dates when they were hosting this event, and then they came back with a more concrete number of $65, and we just upped it to $70 just in case, you know, taxes come up or something. So I am open to any questions.
Are there any questions for Senator Hull about this bill? Seeing none, because this is a first read, there is no vote required, and we will move into the debate period on this item at the next meeting. We can now move into officer reports. So I will give my officer report. I had a couple meetings this week with people from RSOs, working on, again, I've said this like every week, I'm working on an agency project. So I've been meeting with RSOs to talk about that and finish up some of the last bits of getting everything put together for that. So hopefully I will have an actual bill to pass here soon. Other things that I've been working on, I've been working a lot on student fees. This is a big project that we're going through. And then I've been reviewing some of the legislation that's being put forward to committees and all kinds of stuff like that. If you'd like to read more about what I've been working on, it will be in my report. Are there any questions for me about what I've been working on this week? Great, seeing none, we can move on to item B. Senator Flores, your report.
Yeah, so basically like the main focus of this week has been on the Latinx Heritage Month celebration. Earlier today, I had a meeting with David Garcia, who's the Director of Public Relations, and the Director of Media. Had a meeting with them just so that we could discuss like what's feasible for both of them given their time constraints since Latinx Heritage Month started yesterday. As well as like they have lots of other projects going on, and I wanted to make sure that we could still get something out while not overwhelming them. So we came up with a good alternative to just sort of highlight one Latinx individual from each of the 3 branches of SGA. So we don't really have any further planning than that. They're just going to be, you know, creating like a number of questions and then scheduling times to have the people that we want to highlight come to campus and like film the short little videos. I've also had a meeting, not a meeting, but I attended a meeting with ISAO, which is the Immigration Student Advocacy Organization. And I was able to just sort of talk to them, and they mentioned that they were having issues with like fundraising, and that was a really big focus of theirs. So I made sure to direct them to some resources within SGA to make sure that they know those are available. And then I made sure to offer that if they ever wanted to partner with DEI, that we were more than willing, that we would like love to do that. As well as just like scheduling different things for future months or, you know, in the future in general for the rest of the school year. Talking about like mental health issues, and tonight we got a lot of great things done in my committee discussing different demographics we wanted to focus on, such as like homeless, low income students and resources for them. Food insecurity was another big issue that we discussed, and we created plans to work on that as well. And we also worked on just focusing on doing something a bit more than spotlighting or highlighting just 3 Latinx individuals in SGA and to do something more substantial. And there was a little bit of brainstorming there by members of my committee. And so I just assigned them to do different things for different members regarding those 3 areas. So yeah, I think that's it.
Are there any questions for Senator Flores? Seeing none, we can move on to item C. Senator Liu, your report.
Yeah, so this week I did a lot of random little small things. So the main things I did was I met with Senator Day and Gums regarding accessibility on campus. We came up with a wish list per se of stuff we would like to see the faculty implement. That is something we'll be refining and hopefully reaching out to members of the faculty to get their opinions and see if we can get something started in the faculty senate for action-wise. I also met with President Khan and Treasurer James about creating a income share agreement initiative at Wichita State. I also brought that I also brought up in committee, and it's something I will be researching and hopefully pursuing as the semester rolls on. Lastly, I also sat in on the faculty senate meeting, and I'll be reporting what they did. Please note that I'll be reporting facts only, and whatever I say do not represent my opinions or anyone else's. So first off, the faculty senate meeting, they talked about the voluntary separation incentive program, which basically allows certain faculty to retire early in the effort to avoid layoffs and firings. And that is something that they talked about, and it's something that's currently going on. Secondly, they also talked about academic integrity reports. Academic integrity reports were released recently, and if you would like to see them, they will be within my report. many faculty had concerns about how there is a lack of reporting in regards to academic integrity issues for fear that any reports generated will negatively impact the students' permanent record. Next up, there's the issue of free speech in classrooms. Faculty brought up issues regarding what constitutes as free speech. Like, in what context can you talk about sensitive issues in today's society? And how can you talk about, in what classes can you talk about these issues? How can you bring it up, and how can you broach these topics carefully without offending individuals? Lastly, there is the faculty brought up the issue of students having their cameras off in online classes. They're concerned that students may just show up for classes but have their camera off and just be there for the attendance purposes. Although many faculty mentioned how they cannot force students to have their camera on, and some faculty have utilized random polls and or just randomly calling on students to ensure participation. That concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Are there any questions for Senator Liu? Great, seeing none, we can move on to item D. Senator Hull, your report.
Yes, hello everyone. So this week you're all going to notice my reports are kind of the same thing because budget and finance is very specific. Still working on that new student fee process that Speaker Babin talked about, and then also an attachment to that will be the organization appropriations bill. So those will be introduced hopefully at the same time. Setting up meeting for those budget requests. We're also still working to figure out if colleges have hardship funds for students to apply for if they need it. And then finally, an update on the responsible representation in the athletic funding resolution. So our committee has decided to table it indefinitely. This is because the executive branch is doing work to try to get those conversations going and get that back underneath SGA's purview. So the only way it would be able to come back up is if another bill is written or another resolution is written, or if somebody in the committee decides to bring it back up. I am open to any questions.
Are there any questions for Senator Hull? Senator Day.
Hi, I'm just curious about the tabling because basically what I'm wondering about is why it was tabled indefinitely, which as I understand essentially kills it, as opposed to tabling, say, until January or to another time.
So yeah, so our committee, we also, while the sentiment of the bill is there, we don't think it is appropriately written. It is almost a copy and paste from last session, but we do think that the resolution needs work in order to kind of fully flesh out the idea that is moving this big thing back into SGA's purview. So if that answers your question, if not,
I think it's important to note in this situation that if the bill were to come to the floor and fail, then all conversations that the executive branch is having to bring the athletic fee underneath the purview of student fees would have to stop. So the idea of them tabling it indefinitely is just to avoid that problem as a whole. And then if the issue comes up again where we do need to write another resolution, this gives them the opportunity to just write a new resolution as opposed to bringing up this one that they feel might not necessarily be appropriate. Are there any other questions for Senator Hull? Great, seeing none, we can move on to item E. Senator Day, your report, please.
Hello, everyone. In terms of safety and student services, some of this was mentioned already, but I've met with Senator Gumbs and Senator Liu on improving the academic accessibility on campus for students with disabilities. And as Senator Liu mentioned, we created a short list of potential improvements. They'll hopefully jumpstart the conversation on improving the experience of the disabled student population in an academic setting and make sure that they can learn in these times that are hard for them. I have communicated with Senator Sheila Bott, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm sorry if I didn't, and Senator Jola via email on the issue of health insurance for international students. It's kind of complicated, but basically, I as I understand it, for the grad student population specifically of like grad assistants, the rate went up 40%. It went from $180 a semester to $250 a semester. And apparently caught the population by surprise. I'm also aware that the international student population in general, like who's not like grad students or teachers, will pay about $1,000 or more for insurance. And I'm not sure the rate increase for that, but I'm literally that also increased. So I'm hoping to work on that and see what the reasons are for that, how to make sure that the students don't feel blindsided, because I think that many of them did. They didn't really expect such an increase. I'm in the early stages of planning for the safety walk. I have been in contact with both UPD and facility services about hosting the event. I'm very early in the process. I hope the ball will get rolling pretty soon, but no specific days been set yet. But just let you know that that's coming up. I've been in contact with Senator Perkins about improving the bus routes to campus. I mean, I think a lot of this will be handled by the Government Relations Committee because this is a city issue primarily, but I thought I'd bring that up. And I also mentioned met briefly with the student advocate, Caitlin Hammock, about improving the promotion of student resources, because basically many of my committee members were concerned that many students are not basically being connected with the resources they need on campus because of a lack of promotion and communication. So I'm hoping Caitlin is putting together a detailed list of such resources. She was doing that anyway. I haven't done this yet, but I'll reach out to DPR Garcia about such things. And I'm hoping to use the institutional way of SGA connect students to these resources on a broad level. So I think that's about it. I am open for questions.
Are there any questions for Senator Day? Great, seeing none, we can move on to item F. Senator Perkins, your report.
Hi guys, so this week, the primary thing I worked on is these voter education presentations. We ran into a few barriers, but we've kind of redirected. So I don't have to go too much into that, but I spent a good amount of time working on the presentation and the script for those presentations. These are primarily going to be given by Government Relations Committee members, but as those start to build and we have more, we might be extending that information to senators. If you guys are interested in helping with those presentations, there will be a script that you guys can just read, but it would be very helpful, just basic voter education information that we want to provide to students. The next thing that I spent a significant amount of time working on is planning these voter registration events. So like I shared in the group me this week, I was very happy to see that there are a lot of senators that are happy to help with those. And I spent a lot of time working with the Director of Civic Engagement to try to make sure those are planned, because there's like giveaways and food and all of those things involved with those that make COVID and everything dangerous. So we spent a lot of time making sure all of those will be done safely and everything. Don't have to get too much into that. I met with the new senator added to my committee and made sure that she's adjusting comfortably. And then I also talked with Senator Day about the bus routes. I know he's still waiting to hear back from administration just to double check that that isn't an administrative issue and it is truly a city issue, because I don't want to reach out to Councilmember Brandon Johnson and hear that that was something the administration asked to do. So waiting to hear back on that from the administration, but as soon as we do, we will start reaching out that way. But with that, I think I'm open to questions.
Are there any questions for Senator Perkins? Great, seeing none. Item G, we can now move on to item G. Senator Majors, your report.
All right. All right. Hello, everyone. As you know, the committee that I chair has been working on the Supreme Court. We've been going over a lot of things in terms of drafting legislation. As you see in the agenda, both the SCRAM and JRA acts are within our committee currently. In terms of what they're doing, the SCRAM Act will be creating Article 3 of the bylaws for the Supreme Court. And then the JRA is just how we'll be handling the records of the judicial branch. And so you should be seeing those very soon, probably by next week, or hopefully by next week at least. We have a new request for registered student organization that we have drafted legislation for that you should be seeing next week as well. Outside of those things, the Supreme Court and the RSOs, we have also been looking forward as to what we're going to be looking to after the Supreme Court, and we've decided that the Senate Review Board is going to be the next thing that we are going to tackle, and we're going to review and decide whether or not changes should be made, and then we'll Of course, send those to the Senate if we do decide to make those. And that is what the committee has been doing. I'm open to questions if there are any.
Are there any questions for Senator Majors? Great, seeing none, we can now move into association reports. Item A, Vice President Haas, your report.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great Wednesday. I'll start with our Director of Media. She has no reports, just still working on videos for the social media. Our Director of Public Relations says the Diversity and Local Politics panel is tomorrow, and there will be a town hall next Thursday at 2 p.m. with Camille Childers, Dr. Hall, and Katie Austin from Housing. And then he is working with DEI on Hispanic Heritage Month, as Ellie stated earlier. And then for our treasurer's report, the student fees task force is winding down. Thank you all for the extension. President Khan and I will be meeting with the K-State president and treasurer to learn more about their student fees process. And the Black Student Experience Task Force is doing great work. They are working on a survey for our Black identifying students on campus. Shout out to our advisors, Gabe and Daniel Johnson, and still sending ahead student funding bills, so be expecting a few more of those. For my personal report, Convocation was last Thursday and the speaker was really amazing, so go check it out if you were unable to watch. The hiring committee that I have been sitting on is wrapping up next week, so that's where I've spent a lot of my time this week. And then I am also beginning to work on a partnership with the Sedgwick County Food Insecurity Task Force to begin work on relieving food insecurity in our community. President Khan and I also continue to work on the task forces to determine what the new building and the renovation of Clinton Hall will look like. And then again, tomorrow's the diversity and local politics panel, and David and I will be moderating that. So we hope to see you at 5:30 tomorrow. And then for President Khan's report, she attended the reintegration meeting, and they are looking at spring semester and how we can help the transition from the holiday period to being back on campus, kind of taking some notes on what it looks like this semester. And then she has been asked to give a review of she has been asked to give a review to a law firm regarding our Title IX research. The student advocate and herself will be collecting data about the student experience with what that office has offered, and then provide the law firm with an honest review. If you would like to talk more about that, feel free to reach out to either Caitlin Hammock or President Khan. We, herself and myself, are working on creating a multicultural center. We are looking at different possibilities for this space and other resources that will be within the multicultural center and within that building as a whole. So President Khan and I will be looking at KU and K-State's version of multicultural centers and pulling from that what we would like to see on our campus as well. So we're open to hearing from you guys about what you would like to see in this building, in this space that we're still looking at. We have very baby ideas, but we would like to hear your thoughts as well. So email either of us and we'll communicate those. And then her work for the Freedom of Speech Principles in Shared Governments document continues. So I am open for questions.
Are there any questions for Vice President Haas? Seeing none, we can move on to item B. Advisor Fonseca, your report.
Nothing super major to report on. A lot of work going on in the office with student fee things, a lot of things that your chairs are doing. Again, right, just like I keep reminding all of you, continue to do the good work that you're doing, continue to engage with your constituents as best as you can. Utilize your social media as much as you can to figure out the things that are impacting your peers. Try not to just focus primarily on your friends, but broaden your horizon a little bit with that. Also, I'm going to put in a shameless plug. Tomorrow we have our SGA game night. I'm super excited about it. I figured out a website to play like card games virtually. It's going to be super cute, super fun. So if you are interested, I'm going to put the form again on the group chat on GroupMe. If you want to stop by and check it out and have some fun with your peers, no business whatsoever, just fun getting to know each other. And it's going to be cute because I just figured out how to do Uno. That's it. If there are ever any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Are there any questions for Advisor Fonseca? Great, seeing none, we can move into remarks and announcements. Does anyone have any remarks and announcements at this time? Senator Liu.
Yeah, okay. So currently there are on faculty senate committees, there are seats reserved for students. For the most part, they have been filled, but there are currently 2 seats that still need being filled by graduate students. So if you are a graduate student or no graduate students, please let them know that the Court of Academic Appeals and the Library Committee still needs 1 graduate member to serve. If you know anyone interested, or if you are interested yourself, please shoot me an email and I'll make sure your name gets added to the committee lists.
Thank you, Senator Liu. Senator Lane.
Hi, I just had a quick announcement. So I'm a rower here at WSU, and as a member of the Shocker rowing team, I'd like to invite some SGA members to come and tour our facilities and learn about our diverse programs and applied learning opportunities, and also our growing development with the community. If this is something any of you would be interested in, you can visit our website on the WSU page or email me, and I'll include my email in the group chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Senator Lane. Senator Perkins.
Hi guys, sorry to talk again so soon, but I have a few events I want to share with you guys coming up in the next week. So tomorrow there's a Constitution Day lunch, learn, and trivia event. I know that doesn't sound super fun, but we're going to be going over some voter education, and then we're going to be doing a trivia game, so it should be pretty fun. That's from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. tomorrow. Feel free to hit me up if you're interested. Then, like they said, we have a diversity and local politics panel, which I just want to share for the 3rd time because I think it's going to be great. And we have a lot of amazing local leaders a part of that at 5:30 tomorrow night, and obviously being moderated by some great people too that I know you guys know and love. So please come to that tomorrow. And then we have the drive-through voter registration events off campus at WSU, but geared toward WSU students, and that's going to be this Saturday. From 4 to 7 p.m. at Delta Dental in the parking lot. And that's just, you can drive through, it's super safe, wear a mask, and get registered to vote. I would like you to encourage your constituents to be a part of that. And also just remind you guys to also be sure you register to vote and requested a safe advance ballot to vote this November. You can go to wichita.edu/shoppersvote and find out more information about all of that. So please do that. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you, Senator Perkins. It has come to my attention that Kenyatta Narenda is available to speak now. So that is the nominee where we tabled until they were available to speak. So I would like to entertain a motion to bring up that Senator Majors. Thank you. Senator Majors, you can go ahead with the motion.
I think it was Senator Mounts.
Mounts, I'm sorry, I can't read. Senator Mounts, go ahead.
I move to bring SB, what is it? SB 6, oh, it doesn't have a number on the thing. Whatever SB number that is.
63-055.
055, thank you. Back to the floor.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Senator Majors with a second. Go ahead and click yes or no on your Zoom screen. Please do it quickly. I feel bad making them wait too long in the room. Still waiting on a couple more people to go ahead. With 40 in favor, 0 against, this motion passes. We will now move back into SB-63-055. The clerk will please read.
SB 63-055, appoint Kenyatta Jr. Narenda to the position of Business Senator, introduced by Vice President Haas, along with Speaker Livia Babin for themselves, by the authority vested in her as Vice President, by the Constitution and laws of Wichita State University Student Government Association, direct the appointment of Kenyatta Jr. Narenda to the position of Business Senator. Referred to committee of the whole, it is laid upon the table with a 2/3 vote required.
Kenyatta, would you like to give a speech about yourself?
And I think Mackenzie wanted to add one more thing.
Oh, go ahead, Mackenzie. Or sorry, Vice President Haas.
No problem. I just wanted you all to know that it was a miscommunication on my behalf. The email I sent him said that the meeting was tomorrow because I was supposed to send it out on Tuesday, not Wednesday. And I'm very sorry. That was my miscommunication. I just wanted to clear that up.
Thank you, Vice President Haas. Kenyatta, would you like to give a speech about yourself?
It's still loading. Hold on, sorry. I know, right? Isn't that terrible? It's like he's there, but it's still taking a second to let him in.
He just sent me an email,
Okay.
so he should be in.
Okay, awesome. Give me just 1 second. Oh, perfect. Okay. There we go.
All right, Kenyatta, would you like to give a speech about yourself?
There we go.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Okay.
All right, great. Yeah. All right, this is awesome. All right, great. Zoom meetings, oh my goodness. Yeah.
You can go ahead and talk and give your speech to the Senate about why you have applied and what you're hoping to accomplish as a senator.
All right, thank you. Well, I applied firstly to be a part of my community. You know, I just transferred from Butler Community College to Wichita State University, and I wanted to make my own imprint on campus. And I think the best way to make my own imprint as a student is to be part of the Student Government Association. I want to be able to give other people a voice. I want other people to feel as if they could be heard and also understood. Right? I feel as if I'm a person with many similar backgrounds to everyone else. You know, firstly, I'm a Black student, you know, and I may relate to other Black students as well. I am an international student, and that can remain, pardon me, that can also relate to other students from, you know, different backgrounds. I mean, even though we may not be of the same ethnicity, but the fact that we may share common problems, and I want to be able to translate that for other students. Those were my two main reasons for applying to be a Senate. And as well, I think I wanted to meet every other person who may be in the same wavelength, because I feel like we're taking a selfless act to represent other groups or other students on campus, and coming together, we could all help our students in that way. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
No need to be nervous. Thank you, Kenyatta. Do we have any questions for the nominee? Senator Martin?
Yes, I was just wondering if you had any major goals that you'd like to achieve here with the SGA.
I think one maybe, if possible. I don't know how, you know, it would go by, but definitely make international students feel welcomed. You know, there seems to be like this gray area, I believe, after talking to some students about how the school represents them, or how they're represented by the school. So I like to make them feel, and actually for them to feel acknowledged, that they could do whatever they put their mind to here at WSU. You know, I think they should feel as if they're welcome just like any other student, you know? So that would be one of the issues.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the nominee? Great, seeing none. Thank you very much, Kenyatta, for coming to speak before us today. We are going to be moving into the debate period, so you can stay or leave for that, whichever you decide, whatever makes you more comfortable. But with that, we can move into the debate period on this item. Is there anyone who would like to speak in affirmation of this candidate? Senator Flores. Senator Flores.
Sorry, it just like the internet just froze for a sec. Yeah, this candidate seems like they have a lot of passion and that they have a lot of different perspectives that they could share that would be really beneficial for SGA to represent a lot of demographics that largely get ignored. So yeah, with that, I'd like to motion to adopt by unanimous consent of the Senate.
With a motion to adopt by unanimous consent, do we have any objections to this motion at this time? Please raise your hand if you object to this motion. Seeing none, this motion passes with the unanimous consent of the Senate. Congratulations, Kenyatta. You are now a senator in the 63rd session. We can now move back into the remarks and announcements portion of our agenda. Does anyone else have any remarks and announcements for this meeting? Great, I have some remarks and announcements for this meeting. So first of all, don't forget to submit your senator hours. Again, I would like to remind everyone, your senator hour is 1 hour of work that you do outside of your normal Senate meetings and your normal committee meetings. So anything you do other than Senate and committee could count as a senator hour. Please submit those on Shocker Sync before midnight. I will not be extending the deadline again this time, so everyone needs to submit their hours before midnight. I would also like to say that if you have not been attending your committee meetings, you should be. I've double checked everyone. Everyone has been having emails sent to them about their committee meetings. It's a problem on your end if you aren't receiving emails about your committee meetings. You need to be attending those every week. They do count against your 3 unexcused absences. So please make sure you were there for committee and the actual Senate meetings. That's really important. Otherwise, great job today. There was a lot less of abstentions of votings. I really appreciate that. We have to make sure that we're voting on every bill. That's the work of the people. It's what we're doing here. Cool. Are there any other remarks and announcements? Great. I now ask that you all vote one more time on your iClicker app for your final roll call. Go ahead and click any button you feel. I'm going to give it another 15 seconds to hit your answer. Otherwise, you will not be counted as present for the entire meeting. All right, that will conclude our meeting with our final roll call with 41 people in attendance. I now conclude this meeting at 8:12. You are all free to go. The Senator Hour form is definitely on Shocker Sync. I just pulled it up and I can see it. So if you go to Shocker Sync, the SGA page, it is the first option under forms.
If anybody has time to answer a quick question for me.
Yeah.